what 9/11 exposed that was great was that there is real patriotism when things go sideways. That people will come together, and I swear to God, to people that are listening to this that weren't an adult during that time, I swear to God, there was a noticeable, more positive change in the way people interacted with people.
Yep.
Especially the way people treated cops and firemen.
Yep.
I remember when I was in New York City after 9/11, and these firemen were hanging out with us outside in front of this comedy club, and it was like hanging out with stars. Like, it was like, these are like the local stars on the hockey team or something like that. Everybody was like, wow, here's a fireman. Like, it was totally different, man. Firemen were getting laid like crazy, they were telling me. Women wanted to fuck heroes. They wanted to fuck real heroes, because those are the people that really did risk their lives going in to save people when fucking buildings collapsed.
Sire, this is causing the opposite effect that we wanted. Tell me. They are uniting. And they're treating them as heroes. They're becoming dangerous with their pride and their patriotism.
What we're saying worst case
Demonize them.
What we're saying worst case scenario is that they not only knew that those planes are going to hit the towers, but that they planned for it.
And they planned
and they allowed it to happen. That's the scariest of all the conspiracy theories. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. I think much more likely there's a lot of things that happened that were incompetence. I think getting that many people to keep their mouth shut about a plan where planes are going to slam into the World Trade Center, boy, that seems sketchy. That seems like people would come out. But I think one thing they absolutely do is when shit goes down, they take advantage of it.
Well, to the point where you just said, the media was so powerful. Don't forget, they were on all cylinders. All cylinders. If you
question, there was no social media back then.
No social media. All you could do is go on. I remember being in a pub. I was in Chester, New Jersey. I don't know. I went pub. I don't have a fuck. The fuck did that come from? I was in a pub.
Where did that come from?
So I don't know. So I was in a pub. Chester, New Jersey, and I was talking about the towers, and I didn't want to say I didn't believe. I said, man, I just got a lot of questions. You don't think it was weird? They just pancake straight down. I thought that was a miracle. And then the second one, I'm like, wait a minute, and the reaction from that person was, what are you fucking one of those anti-American? Like he wanted to kill me. So what I'm saying is, you couldn't question anything at that time. If you dared question, people would immediately have you. Even the most popular newscasters that people love today because they're on certain sides, they were selling it hard. And to me, I never forgot that. They were selling death. They were selling murder. They were selling war. And, bro, you couldn't question anything. They had that counterattack ready to go. And so when people go, you're telling me this was a secret? Yeah, man. When you control all that, that's pretty powerful. When you want to make I question it, and this guy wanted to fucking be violent against me. And I was just like,
it's crazy to be violent.
It's weird.
It's crazy to be violent about an opinion like that, because it's not an offensive opinion. It's not an offensive. First of all, it's slightly ignorant. Right? Because the thing about Tower 1 and Tower 2 specifically is they didn't fall like a controlled demolition at all. They fell like a building that was collapsing. But Tower 7 fell like a building into its base. That one's extraordinary. And that one absolutely looks like a controlled demolition. I am not saying it's a controlled demolition. No. What I am saying is the way it collapsed, it went into its base just like a controlled demolition. And if you don't agree with that, then you're talking nonsense. If you don't agree with the fact that that looks like a controlled demolition, then we really can't talk, because you're dealing in fantasy world. Because it undeniably looks exactly like a controlled demolition. That doesn't mean it was. First of all, one thing that doesn't look like a controlled demolition is the top of it. You see it cave in long before the whole building collapses. So there was a structural collapse that you can see from the video that most people aren't aware of. If you see the top of it before the whole building comes down, see that top? See that dark thing on the top? That thing goes first. Now watch how that goes. So
play it or go slow
yeah,
mo?
just play it.
Okay.
So what apparently was going on? There's diesel generators in that building. No, see if you could play. I want to see the thing. I think it was even before that, Jamie. I think it was a larger thing that went under first, that collapsed first. That's it.
There it
So
is.
that's that thing. See that? Okay,
Boom.
there it goes. So that collapses. So there's obviously the internal structure's gone. So this thing collapsing like that doesn't throw me off as much, having seen that. Because I don't know jack shit about construction.
Who does?
But I
don't.
do know that construction companies are shady as fuck upon occasion. And if you're supposed to use X, but you can use W, it's gonna be fine. These fucking structural engineers, they all want extra thick steel. We're good with this. We got 5 rivets instead of 6.
Who needs permits?
And then you're saving millions and millions of dollars. Look, man, I lived in Boston during the time of the Big Dig. Do you remember the Big Dig?
What is the big dig?
The Big Dig was a fucking construction project that was the most corrupt construction project that's ever existed. It was supposed to last like a couple of years. It went on for decades. These guys milked it. They would be like working like this. Dink,
Well, it's like
dink.
New York and New York and Boston.
The
Yeah.
Big Dig, it was supposed to, it started in 1982 when I lived there. It ended in 2007. It was supposed to take like 2 years. They just fucking milked it, and a bunch of people went to jail. There's a bunch of lawsuits. Oh yeah, fucking full-on corruption.
How come they don't look at the LIE on Long Island? It's been under construction since I was a child.
Forever. Well, here's another thing. When you pay tolls, the tolls on a bridge were supposed to be to compensate for the money that it took to build the bridge.
Right.
But once they have all the money to build the bridge, they're like, fuck, you pay me. Just keep paying me.
And where's that
Just
money
keep
going?
paying me. Well, it goes into the state, and then the state can make the government bigger. And we have more people that can go after you if you don't pay.
Here's another law.
Hey! Do you know that more government jobs have been created over the last, I forget what the time period was, than any other sector? Any other things going on?
But see, Joe, it's little things like this. What drives me nuts too is, you know what it is? I think people's emotions. It's just people's emotions are still with it. They're either in denial, or they don't want to face the dark, or they picked a team, and no matter what that team says, the other team is wrong. It's, hey, I'm an Eagles fan.
Well, first of all, you have to have a lot of looking into things before you form a realistic perspective of what's happening. It takes a long time, man, and a lot of people don't have that time. We're lucky that we're comics and we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know,